Hello everyone, this is Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing team bringing you a race today from Oxford Plains Speedway in Maine. Oxford Plains is a flat 3/8 mile track with very short straightaways and very wide sweeping corners. Today we'll be watching the iRacing Advanced Legends series. We were supposed to have 12 very fast Advanced Legends cars, but 3 of those cars didn't come out of the pits in time to make the starting grid. We will walk through that starting grid, including the 3 cars that have failed to show up, and then we'll get started. Starting 12th was supposed to be car number 12 of Bill George coming to us from California. Bill George did not press the enter button before the timer ran out, so Bill will have to start from the pits. Starting in the 11th spot is car number 6. That's Christy Chambers, also from California. She's out of Bakersfield. She also did not join the starting grid in time. Starting in the 10th spot was car number 10, Kathleen Kemple, also from California. 3 drivers from California, 3 drivers that didn't make the grid. It makes me wonder if they may be having some internet connectivity issues that are forcing them to withdraw from the race here. In any case, if they do join the race, they'll join from the pits. Now, to the cars that actually made the starting grid. Starting in the 9th spot, in car number 9, that's Andrew McGarry, racing with us from the Mid-South. Starting in the 8th position, in the bright green 1 Legends car, that's Mark Kuda coming to us from New York. Starting in the 7th spot, in car number 8, that's the Dirty Mo Posse Hellman's Mayonnaise 34 Ford Legends car. That's going to be Austin Ramsey, also coming to us from the Mid-South. Starting in the 6th position, that's the bright orange car number 11 of Aaron Rustad coming to us from Pennsylvania. Starting in the 5th spot, in car number 3, that's going to be Vincent Acard in the Butler-built 34 Ford. Now on to your top 4 here. In the 4th starting spot, that's car number 2, Mark Smith. Mark did not make the starting bell, so Mark also not on the racetrack to start this race. Starting in the 3rd spot, in car 00, the Maui Brewing Company 34 Ford, that's Aaron Johnson. Aaron's going to show up on your telemetry down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen as the orange and green car number 5. But on the track, he's going to show us car number 00. On the front row outside, in car number 4, that's Brandy Jackson coming to us from Georgia. She's in the pitboxes.com RSR Legends car. And on the pole, in car number 57, that's going to be Ashton Tucker coming to us from Indiana in the BG Racing 34 Ford. He's going to show up as car number 7 on your telemetry, but the number on the side of that car on your screen is going to be car number 57. Let's go ahead and join the action now as Ashton Tucker leads the field out of turn number 4. The pace car is in. Tucker waiting for the green flag. The green's out. Tucker hammers the throttle and jumps out to the lead, followed by the 4 car of Brandy Jackson and Aaron Johnson in the 00. Behind Johnson's the 2 car of Mark Smith, and then behind Smith, Vincent Acard in the 3. They're 3 wide, racing for 4th place here. Looks like Brandy Jackson's going to take a look under the 57 of Ashton Tucker. Jackson on the inside, Tucker on the outside. They are side by side going into turn number 1. Brandy Jackson takes the lead, followed by the 57 car of Ashton Tucker. Aaron Johnson in the 00 third. The bright green car number 1 of Mark Kuda now running in 4th position here on lap number 2. As we come by to start the 3rd lap here, it's going to be Brandy Jackson with the lead, followed by the 57 car of Ashton Tucker, Aaron Johnson in the 00 running in 3rd. These 3 cars now beginning to pull away from the 4th place car. That's Mark Kuda. It's going to be Jackson, Tucker, Johnson running 1, 2, 3, Kuda in 4th, and then it's a little ways back to Austin Ramsey in 5th place. Ramsey running car number 8. Brandy Jackson leads him out of turn number 4 past the start-finish line. Out of turn number 2, down the back straightaway, then out of 4 past the start-finish line. Here comes Brandy Jackson now. She leads lap number 4. It's Jackson, Tucker, Johnson, Kuda. Aaron Rustad now in the 11 has moved up into 5th spot, but it's all 3, Jackson, Tucker, Johnson, taking off and really starting to put some distance between themselves and the 1 car Mark Kuda. Brandy Jackson running a nice smooth race here in the pitboxes.com Legends car. Beautiful blue and white car. Some really sort of chromium-plated blue racing wheels there, followed by the OG car of Ashton Tucker, and then Johnson in the bright orange Maui Brewing Company car. Tucker gets a little sideways there, manages to gather the car back up, and sneak right back in behind Brandy Jackson. Brandy Jackson now comes out of turn number 2, down the front straightaway now into turn 3. Coming out of turn number 4, she's coming down the front straightaway here to start lap number 8. Brandy Jackson so far has led 7 of the 8 laps. She made a pass for the lead, gets a little bit into the rumble strip there, but manages to keep the car straight. Johnson has been looking on the outside of the 7 of Ashton Tucker, now pulls back in line. It's a 3-car breakaway. Jackson, Tucker, Johnson running 1, 2, 3. The 4, the 57, the 00. 4-car Brandy Jackson looking good. Johnson now looking on the outside of Tucker. Let's zoom in on this race a little bit as Johnson now starts to work the high line. It's relatively unusual for someone to have any success on the high line here. Johnson was trying that high line on the outside of Ashton Tucker. Johnson again looking high, now turns back down low as he goes underneath, and then back to the outside. Tucker slips just a little bit. Johnson comes into the corner, looking high again on this 57 car of Ashton Tucker. They come past the start finish line into turn number 1, starting lap number 11. It's still Jackson, Tucker, Johnson running 1, 2, 3. Johnson now seems to have settled back in behind the 57 car and is content at this point in time to run 1, 2, 3 with the 4 and the 57. It's a decent amount back to Mark Kuda in the 4th spot, so it's going to be Brandy Jackson, Ashton Tucker, and Aaron Johnson running 1, 2, 3. Johnson again starts to look high and maybe trying to get a little bit of a run here on the 57 car. They come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. It's still Brandy Jackson with the lead, followed by Ashton Tucker, Aaron Johnson. 1, 2, 3. Johnson now slips back just a little bit. It looks like Brandy Jackson and Ashton Tucker have put a little distance between themselves and the 3rd place car. Tucker looking to the inside of Jackson. He just doesn't have enough car to get it done. Johnson again making another one of those runs on the high side. Looks to the outside of the 57 car of Ashton Tucker. Johnson now pushing a little harder on the outside. He's right on Tucker's back bumper, slips to the high side again. It's Brandy Jackson still with the lead. Johnson now really working hard on the high line here. It's, again, really unusual to get any success at the high line here, but Johnson seems to be trying to make it work. Lap 15 of 40 is almost in the books. Johnson now looks low underneath the 57 car. Doesn't have quite enough to get it done, so it's still going to be Jackson, Tucker, Johnson running 1, 2, 3. Quite a distance back now to the 1 car of Mark Kuda. This really is a 3-car race for the win here. Johnson seems to have backed off a little bit, maybe letting those tires cool down after making a little bit of a push to get around the 57. The low groove is the fast groove now as Brandy Jackson leads them around the racetrack, followed by the 57 of Ashton Tucker and the 00 of Johnson, that bright orange and green Maui Brewing Company automobile. They come out of turn number 4 now onto the front straightaway. Brandy Jackson leads on lap 18. Johnson closes again on the 57 and looks to the high side one more time. Johnson just doesn't have enough to get it done. There's not enough grip out there on this flat, slick track, so it's going to be Jackson, Tucker, Johnson, 1, 2, 3. Tucker looks to the inside of Brandy Jackson again. That gives Johnson a little opening on the outside. Johnson maybe gets a wheel up, just doesn't have quite enough to get it done. Now comes off of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Still looking, or turn number 2 onto the back straightaway, still looking at the high side of the 57 car. They come out of turn number 4 now. It's 57 on the inside. Johnson now with a really good run off of 4. He comes into turn number 1 now on the outside of the 57 car. Out of turn number 2, they're side by side. Johnson and Tucker side by side here, just behind Jackson. Johnson really working hard on the high groove now. Oh my goodness! Oh wow! How close was that? Tucker caught the apron and came within just a smidge of getting the 00 car of Aaron Johnson. Tucker hits the wall a ton. That makes it a 2-car race now. Brandy Jackson in the lead, followed by the 00 of Aaron Johnson. Jackson in the blue 4-car, Johnson in the 00. They come past the start-finish line. 19 laps to go now. Spin on the high side. Jackson and Johnson both avoid that mess and come out now of turn number 2 down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Johnson working on the high side of Jackson. If it worked once, maybe it'll work again. Brandy Jackson now comes out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway. There are 18 to go. Johnson working on the high side. Jackson working on the low side, and Johnson just doesn't have enough car to get by Brandy Jackson at this point. Brandy Jackson continues to lead now, coming out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway. It's Brandy Jackson followed by Aaron Johnson. Vincent Acard has worked his way up to 3rd now with Mark Kuda 4th and Andrew McGarry rounding out the top 5. 17 laps to go. Johnson turns underneath Jackson now, coming out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Looks like Johnson may have the position here. Johnson gets on the throttle coming out of 4 and begins to pull away from the 4-car Brandy Jackson. Johnson past the start-finish line now with 16 to go. Johnson's taking the lead, and he's closing in on the 1-car of Mark Kuda. Johnson turns underneath Kuda now. He's got a decent lead here on Brandy Jackson. Let's ride along with Johnson now as he starts to stretch that lead out over the 4-car. Let's crawl into the cab with Johnson here and see what a lap at Oxford Plains looks like. Johnson now comes out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway, coming into turn number 3. You're just about turning the wheel all the time here. You can hear Johnson give it a little throttle as he comes in to kind of get a little extra speed. Comes out of turn number 4 past the start-finish line. Johnson with a 1.5 second lead now over Brandy Jackson with 14 laps to go. Let's hop back into the car. And notice how Johnson's hands are pretty stable here. Not a lot of movement. Ooh, Johnson gets the curve there, has to catch the car, gather it up a little bit. That could have been disastrous, but Johnson hangs on. 13 laps to go this time by. We crawl in the 4-car with Brandy Jackson. Brandy can still see Johnson here as she comes out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Johnson beginning to extend that lead now. Jackson slides up just a little bit going into turn number 3. Not quite down as low as Johnson has been, running a higher line. And really struggling here, I think, to keep the car under control. We're going to crawl in now into the 3-car with Vincent Acard. Acard 13 seconds back. We'll see what Acard's seeing here. Sounds like he's running a slightly different gear than Jackson and Johnson were. I think you could hear how they were turning a few more RPMs. Acard getting a little loose there coming out of turn number 3, or turn number 2. Now into turn number 3 and finally coming out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. 11 laps to go, 10 laps to go this time by. Vincent Acard running 3rd. We'll crawl in with a 1-car with Mark Kuda. Watch Mark as well. Mark coming out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Mark Kuda running in the 4th position. And finally, let's crawl in with the 9-car of Andrew McGarry. Andrew McGarry is going to be running in 5th, so that represents the top 5. Aaron Johnson, Brandy Jackson, Vincent Acard, Mark Kuda, and Andrew McGarry. McGarry just was passed by the Hellman's Mayonnaise Dirty Mo posse car of Andrew McGarry, of Austin Ramsey. And it looks like Ramsey is maybe 2 laps down here. Let's go back up front with Aaron Johnson. Let's crawl out of the car and see what this looks like from up front. Johnson now closing in on the lapped car, the 9 of Andrew McGarry. Gets underneath McGarry and goes on by. It's going to be Johnson now, 8 laps left with a 4-second lead over Brandy Jackson. Aaron Johnson 1st, Jackson 2nd, Vincent Acard 3rd, Mark Kuda 4th, and Andrew McGarry 5th. Johnson closing in on Vincent Acard. Acard the last car on the lead lap here. 3 cars left on the lead lap, 7 to go. Johnson closes in, looks underneath Acard as he comes out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Johnson into turn number 1, completes the pass. That's going to be Aaron Johnson putting Vincent Acard a lap down. Only Johnson and Brandy Jackson on the lead lap, as it's Aaron Johnson now pulling away to a nearly 5-second lead with 6 laps to go. This time by, there will be 5 laps left, 5 to go. Aaron Johnson with the lead, Brandy Jackson 2nd, Vincent Acard 3rd, Mark Kuda 4th, Andrew McGarry rounding out the top 5. Austin Ramsey is 6th, Mark Smith 7th, with Ashton Tucker and Aaron Rustad now out of competition. 4 to go this time by. Johnson in the 00 working on the 8 of Austin Ramsey. Looks like Johnson's maybe going to be content just to ride behind Ramsey here. Ramsey's been racing pretty hard. I think Johnson doesn't want to take any chances on getting spun here with a nearly 10-second lead over nearly 5-second lead over Brandy Jackson. Content just to go ahead and ride as the race here comes to a conclusion. Johnson again looks underneath the 8. Not really worth going too hard there to get by. The 8 slides up in 3 and 4. That allows Johnson to get underneath now. 2 to go this time by. Johnson comes into turn number 1, out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. Also looking again under the lapped 1 car of Mark Kuda. Johnson now comes out of turn number 4. Kuda slides up high. Johnson will take the white flag this time by. It's Aaron Johnson here with Brandy Jackson 2nd, Vincent Acard 3rd, Mark Kuda 4th, and Andrew McGarry 5th. Johnson comes out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Turn number 2 onto the back straightaway now. Johnson out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway, and he's going to take the checkered flag here. It's going to be Aaron Johnson with a big win, followed by Brandy Jackson in 2nd, Vincent Acard 3rd, Mark Kuda will finish 4th, Andrew McGarry 5th, Austin Ramsey in 6th, Mark Smith 7th, Ashton Tucker 8th, and Aaron Rustad will round out the top 9. It's quite the race from Oxford Plains Speedway. Aaron Johnson taking the lead later in the race, at about lap 24, and then pulling away to victory at Oxford Plains. For the Johnson iRacing team on the Johnson iRacing Network, this is Aaron Johnson saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.